adjusted some audio levels. So let me know if that's okay. Okay? I'm just double checking there. Okay, so let's get the social media out, letting people know that we're live. And then I have some questions to answer, it looks like. Yeah, we got some questions here. Okay, let me get to the point. Okay. I'm just going to copy the questions and put them in like a little sticky so that I can... Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong monitor over here. Or the right monitor, depends on which one you're looking at. So I hope you guys are doing well. We have a couple of questions to tackle. We're going to take a look at the Ultimate Master set in full. The whole set came out today, and so that's awesome. Can't wait to take a look at that. One of these questions I will not be able to answer, but we'll get to that when we get there. So let's continue to get the social media out. One moment here. Oh man, you know what? I totally blew up my tweet. I blew up my tweet, man. I'm supposed to take this and put it on my Facebook. Share that now. And then I just got a tweet from my streaming account. You know, I have so many accounts, man. Oh, we were supposed to talk about that at some point. How to build a following, or how, like, the best way to use Twitter, you know? So maybe we might talk about that soon. Let me find my tweet, and then I'm just going to retweet it, and then we'll be ready to go, guys. We'll be ready to go. I know nobody's in here right now, so it doesn't really matter. Right, nobody's here. All right, let's refresh here to make sure I'm live. Okay, I am live. Great, 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 great. So this is the set. I haven't fully looked at the Ultimate Master set since it's all fully dropped. So let's take a little look together. I'll have some just reactions and whatnot. I think the set is great, and it's awesome. I think the set is awesome, but I think we have to get past the hype. You know, we have to get past like the crazy, like, oh man, this set's crazy, and we need to figure out, like, what do we do? What do we do about the set? You know, how do we respond now that the set is here? So let's take a look. I'm just kind of going to do a post-mortem here. The set is dropped, and I want to there's a couple things I want to find out today. I want to look at the box prices. Have the box prices gone up? Should we buy a box now? Like, what is the EV? What stuff do we know about the expected value of this set? Like, if you buy a box and you open it, are you going to lose money, or are you going to gain money? Are you going to break even? Because a lot of these cards, though they're reprinted at high prices, we don't know where those prices are going to go, right? So I'm just looking over the set. It's funny because, like, when you see all the spoilers and stuff, you feel like, man, this set's insane. But then when you look at it, like, you know, you see Ether Snipe and, you know, Archaeomancer, and it kind of puts the set a little bit more in perspective. I mean, the set is still insane, but, you know, it does have, like, normal cards in it, not just crazy cards. And I'm just looking over this to kind of get a view. I know that today Slay of Hand was spoiled as an uncommon, which is great. Neat little thing there. And then we have... It does... Oh, an unstable mutation, which is nice. It does have... Like, it does look like it will be draftable. It looks pretty cool. We had Buried Alive was spoiled today as well. Set spoiler day. What set spoiler day is the hangover recovery day. Everyone sobers up. That's what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to sober up a little bit. Let's get our heads on straight and figure out what does this mean. You know, Golgari Thug. I didn't know that was in here. That's actually another value reprint. I think it's like $3 or $4 before. So very cool. Very cool to see that in the set. The things I'm noting right now are kind of like afterthoughts, because we already knew about all these real high dollar rares and stuff like that. So now I'm just kind of looking through. I knew that Tassiger was going to need a reprint. It's one of those like preemptive reprints because it was worth like it was really low, but you know, in price, it was really low in price. But it's one of those cards that would eventually go high. And so that's kind of like the thespian stage, you know, it's kind of Anger was also like a $3 uncommon, so good to see Anger in there. Faithless Looting, Desperate Ritual, those were money commons. We already knew those were there though, but I'm just saying. Same thing with Lava Spike. Reckless Charge, I like that card, just in general. One of those things, you know. That was a popper card, if I remember correctly. We got Young Pyromancer today, another great uncommon. Surprised there wasn't another dragon in the set, like Scourge of the Throne or Nicol Bolas. Yeah, I don't know. Why does that surprise you, Zuko? Eternal Witness, Devoted Druid, yeah. Fauna Shaman was another card that, like, if it did not see a reprint, we were gonna, you know, it was gonna get crazy if it didn't. It was about $12 to $15 before this reprint. Now, you know, depending on distribution, we can see this at like $5 or something like that, 5 to 7. Let's keep a look in here. A lot of the dredge cards, you know, were cards like, even like this one. Woo! What's up, Norbert? Golgari Brown Scale. It's something I used to pull out of bulk because anything with dredge on it, I think would have like a possibility of gaining value. But now, you know, we're gonna have to wait longer for those because now they're all in the set. So Kodama's Reach. Wow, that was a $2 card, and I sell a lot of those on TCG Player. Just $2, no problem, you know. So Kodama's Reach is not to be you know, not to be missed out on. That was a $2 common. And the reason I make a big deal about that stuff is because when you have $2 commons and $5 uncommons in those slots, and then you have the typical rare being at like $15 or whatever, or $10 or whatever the average value is, then the set is really hard to lose value when you're opening packs. When you have Counter Squall was a $2 or $3 card, it was like a $7 card, and then later it's dropped for some reason. I guess blue black. Yeah, Counter Squall is money, but it has lost value. It's not at what it was before, and that was even before the reprint. It was already going down. All right, I see there was something happened here. What are my alerts? War Leader instead of Lightning Helix. Something happened, but I don't know what it was. Oh, you know what? I need to put this on top. I'm sorry, guys. Let me see what happened on the stream. I wanna pay attention to what's going on the stream. Count Black, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Sorry that we missed a little animation. I had to fix my stream situation there. So yeah, this art is awesome. Vengeful Rebirth. War Leader's Helix instead of Lightning Helix. Yeah, it didn't pop up. That was my fault. That was poor management. I forgot what we were saying, but we'll catch our steed again here. I'm just looking over these cards, seeing what we have. Ulamog's Crusher, common popper card. Okay, so this is the set. It's a very good set. Desolate Lighthouse. That's funny that made it in there. It's a very good set. And then we have Mistveil Plains, and they did not do yeah, Slippery Boggle was money, but we saw that like on Monday or something like that. Slippery Boggle was definitely money. They didn't do the cycle here, you know. They just said, oh, we're going to just put in Nistveil planes, which is kind of a cool, I like that trend, is like, hey, just because you put a card in doesn't mean you have to do a cycle, right? And then these are the box toppers. So let's see, we'll go through them, why not? So my first question is, where are boxes at now? Where are boxes at? Let's take a look at eBay. See where the boxes are at. Whoops. Expand that out there. Ultimate Masters booster box. Okay, so we'll do, we're going to say buy it now. I don't want to do any auctions. And then we're going to say price lowest first. Why did I do that? They're doing all. Okay, so these are no box toppers. So keep in mind when you're buying boxes, you have to be careful to buy one that doesn't say. Make sure you don't buy one that says no box topper. You don't want to buy the one without the box topper, in my opinion. Without box topper, see $200 with the box topper. Okay, so the lowest listing right now with the box topper is $289, which let's see, you can save 15% right now. Let me do the math here. $289 saving the 15%. Let's see. 289 times whoops. 289, sorry guys, times 0.85. So 245 right now with the coupon. There's a coupon. Let me see if I can find the coupon for you guys. I'm sure it's all over the Magic Finance. I'm sure it's all over the Magic Finance thing. Let's see. Bear with me, Magic Finance. What happens is someone will post a coupon and then lots of people repeat it in Magic Finance. So, so you'll see it over and over again in the tag. Okay, so this is James tweeting this out. We'll throw this over here. This eBay coupon. So yeah, 15% off up until 8 p.m. tonight. So you get 15% off, which is $245 for this box shipped. So prices have not really skyrocketed. I mean, the lowest you could get them for was like $229, $224 when it was first spoiled that there would be a set. But that dried up real quick, and even before the spoiler started, typically it was like $250, $260. $250, $260 is what you could get the boxes for. And Cool Stuff Inc. was running $269, I think. $279. Here it is, $279.99. And they're still out there. I don't know if it was $269, but at $279, they're still there. So and then also I saved 5% there because of the loyalty program. So $279 times 0.95 is really $265. So between $245 and $265, you can still get these boxes. Let's take a look. So they range from $225 with no box topper to $300 with box topper. Yeah, but I think we're seeing that they're not even $300. They're about, yeah, like we said, $245 to $265. I wish I had as much money as James. He buys whatever he wants. James is a baller, man. What can you say? What can you say? So that's the first thing I want to find out is, are there still reasonable boxes? And there are. So what does that mean? Now, what does that mean? Let's look if we can find a little bit more about the EV. I might have to dig a little bit in my Facebook chats here to find something. So bear with me because I have some information here that I want to take a look at. Let's pop that over here. Now, this is the EV calculation. that Saffron Olive is doing for his article. So this is the spreadsheet that he's working on. Let's see, it appears that everything is in there, including the Mistveiled Plains, the Golgari Thug. So the box, okay, so the box EV right now, based on his calculations, is $369. This is with no box, this is no foil and no, wow, no foil and no box toppers. So they have not added the foil prices in, and he has not added the box topper, and it's still $369. And you're seeing that you can get them at between $245 and $265. So it looks like it's still a buy right now. The boxes are still a buy. And then no topper with the foil EV, it's $421. Now let's take a look at some of these prices. Some of this stuff like Liliana of the Veil. What is this? Is this a real price? So yeah, the lowest you can find is $68. And his price here that he has is, let's put this over here so it's close, $67. Yeah, so this looks to be taking in effect the new prices. I just always want to double check this kind of stuff before, you know, before we go off the rails here. Yeah, look at this, Leovold, you know, $18 here, and these are heavy played, so that doesn't really count. So yeah, let's take a look at what's going on in chat. My LGS sells UMA boxes for $250. I love them. CJ, that's awesome. You should support your LGS, and especially if they're doing stuff like that, you know. James is not the best at selling. He hoards a lot and refuses to sell unless he gets a huge profit. Well, I mean, that's the name of the game, right? If you have the money, you don't need to, if it's like a hobby to you and you have the money, you don't need to sell. You could just sit on it as long as you want and then be stubborn. And that's fine. I don't think we should ever fault him for that. Understandable. You know, you could just buy somewhere else. That's super, super easy decision. You know, you don't like the way he does business, buy somewhere else. Not a problem there. And I'm not saying that as like a dig on you. I mean, yeah, if you don't, you know, you don't have to do business with who you don't want to do business with. You know, that's totally fine. Not a problem at all. So there, I think we've established that it's still okay to buy a box, and boxes are going for the price that we looked at. When you can hook up Twitter bros, better to buy Medina deals. Hey guys, if you want to buy cards, I'm happy to sell them to you, and I don't need to make a huge profit, you know. I'm happy to make a little bit of profit. I'll take a little bit, you know, just toss your business my way. It looks like also we do have some changes in the price tier. Like Boggle was like $3, now it's 99 cents. Fecundity, same thing, $3.99. Circular Logic was $5 or $6, now it's 99 cents. Age of Despair, 79 cents. So this is all changed. So the EV calculation is based on this stuff. The EV looks insane for this set. So this looks great. I think we're done looking at Ultimate Masters as a whole, unless you guys have questions. One of the questions that was asked was, what key reprints that did not make it into Ultimate Masters are stuff that we should think about? Okay, so like there's key reprints that didn't make it into Ultimate Masters. Some of them, one of them that people are talking about is Surgical Extraction. Let's take a look at that. This is a key reprint that did not make it. Oh wow, oh no, that's foils. I was like, wait a second, $45. Let's take a look at the non-foils here. So we have, yeah, these are $25, $22. This, look at the only 40 vendors, only 25 vendors. So you can see there's a lot of pressure on Surgical Extraction right now. Another one is of the most expensive modern cards, right? We do have something. Joey Pasco is following. Thank you, Joey, for the follow. And thank you for watching, buddy. It's good to see you. I don't see you, but it's good to have you in the ether. So, like something like Jace the Mind Sculptor, which is better than all, and also not in the set. This card has been going up a little bit, you know, and so you can see pretty strong price point, $78 here. 70. This one's actually like 75 because it's like $3 in shipping. Scalding Tarn is another one. Scalding Tarn was not in the set, obviously, because the fetches were not there. And so we'll take a look at those prices. This is just an exercise. I mean, to some people it may be boring, you know, hey, why are you looking at prices? Who cares, right? But like, it's good to like put this information in your mind for like when you're trading or when you're buying cards, so you understand, okay, these cards were not in the set. This is immediately after the full set was spoiled. What are the cards looking like now? Now, if you look up Scalding Tarn next week and you see that, hey, you can't get a copy for less than $70, then you know the price has gone up $5. You also know that, hey, other cards that we just talked about, like Jace the Mind Sculptor, Surgical Extraction, stuff like that, might be worth looking into if things are moving that fast. What you have to understand is that all these cards move in groups. They move in packs, if you will. That's funny. Cards move in packs and they come in booster packs. But anyways, you know, all this stuff, like, there's a category of card, right? And it all moves in these packs, okay? So, or groupings. So, like, if you have a category of cards, like, for instance, if a deck does really well, you'll have a category of cards that are in the deck that have not been expensive, okay? And if they haven't been expensive, it's probably because they haven't been seeing a lot of play. So, you know, that category of cards is going to go up in price because they move with the success of the deck, okay? The same thing happens with these kind of situations. Cards that didn't get reprinted in Ultimate Masters. That's a grouping of cards, okay? And people understand that grouping. It's a logical grouping. And so when something happens with one of those cards, it will happen with the group of the cards. So if you see Scalding Tarn or Jace or Surgical Extraction going up, you can track the rate of that. So at the pace that starts to go up, all those other cards are going to start moving at that pace because it moves in a group, okay? So something important to think about. Other cards that did not see a reprint, important cards. I mentioned this the other day. Horizon Canopy. Horizon Canopy. Am I doing that right? Canopy. Okay. So Horizon Canopy, 4 of in many modern decks. And, you know, this is a $50 card right now. And then, of course, the Future Sight. Kevin, 3434. Thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Future Sight is just like really expensive because of the odd frame. But in the old, you know, really hard to get a hold of those, short print run, that kind of thing. So, you know, Horizon Canopy is another one of those. 108 vendors, a little bit more than Surgical Extraction, but it's one of those cards I think is going to creep up on people. They're not going to. You need 4 of them for decks. You need 1 or 2 ofs here and there. It's just going to be one of those things that because it hasn't seen a reprint, the demand is going to really saturate the supply, and then the supply is going to get thin, and then the price is going to go up. So Mox Opal. We knew this one was coming because, you know, we just knew that it wasn't in the Mythics. They're not going to downshift it to Rare. So this one, you know, kind of, it went up to $105 a couple months ago. And now we see still this depressed price, right? $80, $84. Like, it's pretty cheap. My guess is a lot of these prices have not moved very much, okay? These are the prices when we're going over this. The only one that I can see that moved was Surgical Extraction. And maybe that's like a Magic Finance move, you know, maybe the Magic Finance cabal is getting in on a buyout or something like that. But what we see here is that this stuff is not moving, but it could be because we're like right smack in like Thanksgiving, Christmas. So like I would really look at these cards that we're talking about after Christmas, because after Christmas is when the money starts flowing, and then who knows what's going to happen with these cards. We don't know. So let's take a look at chat and then and see how things are going. Hey, Jonathan and Jonathan. Yeah, this is good catching up with Joey Pasco. Joey Pasco is a great guy. He used to do so much different things. Podcast Yo MTG Taps is how I recognize him from. And then he did Star City Games coverage. Excellent photographer. Awesome guy. Big Head Joe, of course. Similarly awesome. I love to hang out with Big Head Joe. I haven't heard from him in a while. Just here and there on Twitter. All right, so the next, I think we can go through many key things that weren't reprinted, but I'm going to probably move on to another question rather than start talking more about, you know, hey, what things were not reprinted. I think you guys get the gist, but hey, if you have one in your mind, you can throw it in the chat and we can just look at the price of it and kind of document it here. If there's another one that has not been reprinted that we should be looking at. So I think Leyline of the Void was the other one that Magic Finance was talking about. So Leyline of the Void, another one that has been going up. I think Leyline of Sanctity as well. Leyline of the Void. Yeah, this one $39 to like a $40 card. It looks to be lower supply again. And then let's look at Leyline of Sanctity. Spelling's not my strong suit, so you guys have to bear with me on that. Too Brutal, welcome. Well done explanation. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. So here we have something like a $20 card. You know, there's plenty of stock here. So Sanctity must not be in the running here. This is an example. Here's an example of something that's not going to be affected because look at how many vendors have this listed. There's not really a pressure on the supply of this. So that's you know, that was just me thinking, hey, Leyline of Sanctity used to see play. Is this, you know, is this something we should think about? So next question. Let's see what the question is. Okay, if you were to happen upon just one box of Ultimate Masters, would it be better to crack it and sell the singles now or hold it for 5 years? Hold it sealed for 5 years. So there's a couple of implications here. Number one, we know that cracking it now is a good idea. Okay? We know that based on this EV, even if we say the EV is 350 or 345, we know that buying a box for $245 on eBay right now with the coupon, opening it will net you $100 in value. Okay, that's expected. You know, we can't say for sure that's going to happen, but that's what's expected. So the question then becomes, if you open that same box in 5 years, or if you keep it sealed in 5 years, will the box yield a better profit? Okay, so that's a good question. I got to really think about that, because what it really means is, will these cards appreciate in value to the point where the EV is better than it is now, right? That's the question, is will these cards appreciate in value to the point where the EV is better than it is now? And I think in 5 years, this box will be worth more. I think it'll be worth more in 5 years. And that it comes with these stipulations. The stipulation will be that, one, that they don't print another print run of this set. So my information says that the print run is a one-time print run, okay? So that means they've printed all the boxes of Ultimate Masters. They're not going to print it again. They've just printed what they have. Whatever that print run is, whatever it's equal to, that's what is going to be distributed and sold. And then once that's done, it's over with, okay? So based on that assumption, the question now becomes, these card values are obviously going to take a dip. So as all that product gets opened, drafted, opened from box busting and whatever, all of these cards are going to open, all of this, these cards are going to go into the market. So supply is going to raise for all these cards. Then demand is also going to raise, because as supply raises, prices will drop. And then as prices drop, it opens up the price point to new buyers, okay? So when you have Noble Hierarchs at $75, you have a certain amount of buyers. But there's people who would buy Noble Hierarchs at $50, but they wouldn't buy them at $75, okay? And then there's people who will buy them at $35. So as those prices drop, you know, the market starts to open up more, and demand starts to grow, okay? So there's this weird situation that's happening. Is the old demand is still there, right? But new demand is starting to grow because prices are dropping. And as that demand starts to absorb the supply, people start to buy those cards and the supply starts to dry up. Then over time, the price of those cards will go back up again, right? So Noble Hierarch might dip down to $40, but then, you know, as that supply, that new supply, people enter at 40, then it starts to go maybe $42, then 43, and then 45, and then next thing you know, it's 55, you know? And so that happens when the supply and demand does their little dance, right? So what we have to look out for is cards that the demand is not really that big and won't ever be that big, right? So a card like, a good example of this is Back to Basics, right? This card was printed a long time ago, and it was in like an Urza set, I think Urza Saga, and so there was only a little bit of supply. And what I mean by that is Magic was not as popular as it is now. So when you have a modern set like Dominaria, there's a lot more Dominaria than there was ever printed Urza Saga, because just not that many people played Magic back then. Not as many relatively as today, right? So the print runs are bigger today. They were not as big back then. Also, as time passes, you have this effect called attrition. Okay, so what happens is somebody opens a set, you know, they play with it, and then a year goes by, 2 years go by, those cards end up in a shoebox under their bed. They go off to college, the shoebox opened up, the mom says, "Oh, this is trash," boom, throws it in the trash. So there, we lose those cards. They're out of the market. They're gone. That's part of attrition. Other things that happen in attrition is collectors, right? People put them in binders. They say, "I'm never going to get rid of this. I'm going to keep that forever," and they keep it. Damage, right? Oh man, I had my Back to Basics in my back pocket, and they got washed in the washer, you know? So lots of different things happen, and as the years go on, this stuff can happen over and over again. So I'm not saying that's like a lot of pressure, but it does happen, right? So cards are removed from the market because of this amount of attrition, and then also the supply is not very good to begin with. Now people need this card for Legacy Miracles. Okay, Back to Basics. We're still talking about this one. And so the supply is very small, and then the demand grows because of Legacy Miracles, and it puts some pressure. And then also some people are saying, hey, that card doesn't have a very good supply. Let's buy a couple of them and hold them. This is the speculator demand that comes in, and so you have this storm that creates the card to go up in price. Now you have something like this set that gets printed not as much as Dominaria, but gets printed more than Urza Saga, and it puts like double the supply back into the market. Well, the demand is not really that high, you know, because it's only like a 1 or 2 of, I think, in Legacy Miracles. So that's going to make the price hard to recover, right? I told you about like Noble Hierarch is going to start going back up. That's true about Noble Hierarch. Back to Basics is going to get smashed in price and is not going to go back up. Okay, it's not going to go back up as like a Noble Hierarch. So the question now becomes, as we look at those ideas, okay, those ideas in mind, the question was, hey, should I hold on to this box for 5 years? The question becomes, is there more cards in this box that are going, what does the cards look like in this box? Are they more like Noble Hierarch, or are they more like Back to Basics, where after the reprint, the price gets crushed and then it doesn't recover the same? So another card is like Through the Breach is the same kind of card, right? Or Goryo's Vengeance. Those were in Kamigawa sets that were not received well, not opened well, and not printed a lot. And so the demand is there, but the supply is like much bigger now. And so those ones will probably not recover. Things like Gorya's Vengeance, Through the Breach, back to basics. However, cards like Engineered Explosives have a really high demand profile. Demonic Tutor is another one. Every EDH player wants to put this in their black decks. Like, anything that's EDH staple will have a high demand for forever, you know, as long as EDH is a format. And so things like Demonic Tutor, things like Ancient Tomb, which has a big demand profile in, you know, Legacy and Commander, this kind of stuff. You know, Noble Hierarch is another one. So the long or short, same thing here. Lily on the Veil, you know, Cavern of Souls, Snapcaster Mage. Let's see what else is in here. That's all the Eldrazi Titans, you know, Mana Vault, big demand profiles. So I would say that this has more of those cards that have like that lasting demand profile, the bigger demand profiles, the ones that are going to recover better. This has a lot more cards that will recover better than cards that won't. And so I feel like in 5 years this will be worth more. And so that would be my assessment. And so the only question you ask yourself then is tying up money, is tying up $100 for 5 years a better move? Couldn't you like buy and sell that $100 over and over again and to make more money than Ultimate Masters is going to be worth? I think so. Now, that last concept was like a really fast thing, but it's just opportunity cost is what it basically comes down to. If you bought a box of Ultimate Masters today, you open up all the singles, sell it, and get your $100 from it, okay, tomorrow. Okay, obviously it doesn't go that fast. But then you take that $100 and you buy something else and get more profit again, and then take that $120 and buy something else and get more profit again, and then take that $145 and you keep doing that, then exponentially in 5 years you're going to be way better off. So I don't like the long plays in a lot of this stuff because I'm saying I don't like it because of the way I do business. I want to make the money work for me. I don't want to put the money on a shelf. Now, some people might want to put the money on a shelf, but then you're not promised what will happen tomorrow. What if tomorrow they say, hey, we're going to print another thing of Ultimate Masters because that was awesome, you know? Then if they do that, you know, your investment's going to get crushed, and you would have lost the opportunity cost from the time that you could have made the $100 and rolled it to the time they decide to reprint. So I'm sorry, that was a super long explanation, but there's a lot of factors involved, and that's what you need to know to understand that question, in my opinion. Let's take a question from the chat, and then we'll keep going. So do you think we'll see more reprints in standard sets now that Masters will be gone? I don't necessarily think we'll see more reprints in standard sets. I think that they will find other ways to do reprints. The Commander sets are a really good way to do that. That's a print to demand product, and you know, it's a good way to sneak some cards in that needs reprints. I think they're going to be doing more things like the game nights situation. I think what they're doing is doing a big arena push, and so they're trying to get a bunch of new eyes on the game. And I think those new eyes, they want to have offerings for the new people who come and the demographic that's coming, so that they can play Magic not in a competitive way, but in a way that is fun and like community building. And so like that thing Game Nights that they came out with, I think is a kind of product that they want to kind of push. The board game style thing is something they want to push, or something they keep trying to do. And so I think you'll see reprints in those kind of products, and also in the Commander sets and things like that. So that would be my idea, or my take on that. Let's go back to the questions here that we had. Let's see. If you had one box, I answered that one. What do you think of the rumor? Oh, this is a good one. Let's see if... Okay, this is the last question we have from Twitter. Okay, and we'll jump into this question, but if you guys want to keep the cast going, we need more questions. Okay, so if you want to keep this going, we'll need more questions. If not, that's fine. We just wrap it up after this question. Okay, so while I'm talking about this question, feel free to interject or ask other questions, and then we can go from there. Okay, so let's take a look at the question. The question is this. What do you think of the rumor that there's going to be a format to replace Modern that's coming? Would this be healthy for cards that had come in past years? Would it lower Modern card prices? So there's this rumor that there's a new format coming. Wizards said they're going to do an announcement on December 6th, okay? And I believe that was framed to have something to do with Arena, okay? And so one of the things that I think they want to talk about is the speculation is a new format. So there's a couple of things that people are talking about with Arena, and there's some of the issues with Arena. So Arena is kind of the new cash cow for Wizards of the Coast, from what I understand. They're trying to make it successful, and there's a couple issues. And so, of course, Wizards is going to want to address these issues so that Arena continues to grow. So what that means is one of the issues is the 5th card issue, and that means when you open up 4 of one card, then the 5th card you open doesn't really do anything. It gives you a little bit of progress to this thing called the Vault, which in the end results in wild cards, but it takes forever to open that up. So that's not a satisfactory answer. So Wizards is working on this problem. Wizards already said that they're thinking about doing it so that you can't open a 5th card. And so that's called, I don't know, 5th card protection or whatever it's called. I don't know, duplicate protection, I think is what it's called. So the announcement on December 6th, I don't think has to do with the 5th card problem, because they've already said they're looking at this duplicate protection thing. And so I don't think they're going to re-announce that. They've already announced that. And so the next problem is rotation. So after you buy all these cards on Arena, then they all rotate, okay? And then they're not worth anything, or you can't play with them in Arena because they're not in Standard. And so the question is, what's next? And the obvious answer is to do what Hearthstone did. Hey, let's make a format called Wild, and you can play all the cards that rotate, but in this format, okay? And so that's the rumor, and I know that Chaz Andres, I think is his name, or I know Chaz, so I'm not trying to say I just don't know how to pronounce his name well. But he writes for Star City as a premium writer, and he talked about this in his article. I didn't read the article because I don't have Star City Premium. Embarrassingly, I have to say that, but somebody asked me my opinion on that. I don't really have an opinion because I didn't read the article, but he mentioned it. Also, the professor has done a video called, a really cool video. It's called Dies to Removal, and it's this kind of like back and forth talk with a guy named Vincent, and they go over this idea of a non-rotating postmodern format. Is basically from Magic Origins up, and it doesn't rotate, and they're thinking that, hey, maybe they'll sneak this into Arena, and people are talking about it, kind of like a Frontier format. So I guess the question is, what do I think of the rumor? I think it's viable that Wizards Coast would create another format. They tried to create Brawl. It didn't work out, I don't think. And so they have to make a solution, and it seems like the solution for another format is good. Like, let's put another format in Arena so that you can play that format with the cards, and then we don't have to do other acrobatics to make your collection be worth something, or make it worth it to invest, okay? Now, I don't know if that would go into paper, right? And I don't know if that would replace Modern. Now, Modern is a really popular format, and when the professor and Vincent did this, I think his name's Pleasant Kenobi is his kind of screen name. When Pleasant Kenobi and the professor talked about this, they talked about how there's so much complaints about Modern and people don't like Modern, but I'm not sure how true that is. I'm sure there's complaints, but Magic players complain about everything. They complain about Ultimate Masters, even though Ultimate Masters is awesome. So just because there's complaints, it doesn't mean that it's not fulfilling its role. And I think Modern is really popular, and so also Wizards has been very hands-on with the format, so it is kind of what they want it to be right now. And I don't know if Wizards is looking to replace that. I don't know why they would. Like, it doesn't make sense to me why they would. So maybe you guys can tell me why Wizards would replace Modern with this other format. I think there's going to be an arena format, but I'm not sure that that format's going to carry over into paper. And I think that it would be wise for Wizards to say, hey, there's a new arena format, check it out. And then just watch the player base. See if the players want that to move into paper. Because maybe players don't even want to move that into paper. Maybe it's just an arena thing and it's not something that's played in paper. And so I am not really looking to jump the gun and go out and try to buy cards that might go into this format in paper, because it may never even make it to paper, even if it does make it to arena. Now, the question is, if it did make it to paper, then what? Would it change the value? You know, would it change the value of modern cards? Well, first of all, a lot has to happen for that to take place. Number one, if it came into paper, then it had to be more popular than modern. Because like one of the worst things for a format is if you build a deck in the format and then nobody around you plays it. Okay, so with modern, you can bring a modern deck anywhere and people have their modern decks. There's people with modern decks. Now, this other format, postmodern, let's say, hey, you build a postmodern deck, then it's always a question like, is there people with the postmodern stuff? So for it to like make prices less in modern, it has to have like a really big, wide adoption. And I don't see that happening because I don't know what it would offer that modern doesn't offer. And so you'll see formats like middle school or what's it called? It's not old school, but it's middle school, or there's another name for it. I forget what it's called. Pre-modern, I think, or something like that. And basically it's this fan format that uses the cards before modern. Now, I won't build a deck in that, and I won't buy cards for that, because I don't like, if I try to play pre-modern, I have to find like the one guy in the town who plays it, you know? So that's what has to happen for this format to really shake up card prices in paper. Now, of course, Magic Finance will run with any kind of new format. So, you know, Magic Frontier, there's a bunch of financiers buying stuff. And so I have a bunch of bulk that I pulled out, that like cards that I think are not bulk rares, that may someday be worth something. So yeah, I'll probably go to that box if people are trying to buy those cards, but I'm not going to go and actively chase that stuff. And so that's my thought with that. Would this be healthy for cards that had come in the past? Yeah, I mean, if there was wide adoption, then yeah, card values would go up. And it's always fun to explore a format. But we don't know what that format would look like, you know. Would Aetherworks Marvel just be broken in anyways, you know? Would Energy have to be banned? Would you know, Smuggler's Copter have to be banned? We don't know. And so we just don't. Smuggler Copter is a decent card, though. It does see play in other formats. So kind of a, you know, maybe if you're really into this, you just pick up Smuggler's Copters, you know? Who knows? So that would be my answer to that. Let's see, we have another question in the chat. Would it be wise for Wizards of the Coast to make a cube product for enfranchised players similar to Card Kingdom Starter Cube? Yeah, it would be super wise. Like, Wizards of the Coast could sell that stuff like candy, man. All they had to do would be like make the borders gold and say they're not tournament playable, and then print a cube product. Because what that would do is, first of all, everyone who'd want a cube would be able to buy it. Second of all, Commander players would buy it like mad. Because what they would do is they would just take the gold border cards and play them with their play groups in Commander. So like, if they put a bunch of cards in there that are expensive but with gold borders and make it really cheap, then that product would sell like gangbusters. So yes, they should totally do a cube, and they should make it gold border, and they should make it like $50 and just blow it out, man. And that would make them a lot of money, in my opinion. And it would give the players, you know, casual formats something to play with. and I think it'd be great. What would you like to see unbanned in both Legacy and Modern to shake things up? Well, first of all, Legacy had a huge shakeup with the unbanning or the banning of Deathrite Shaman and Gitaxian Probe. I think that's been fun for a while. So I don't play the format Legacy. I like Legacy. It's very interesting to me. It used to be one of my favorite formats, but I don't play a lot of Magic. So I don't have time to play Magic. I spend more time making content and selling cards than I do playing it. I play between here and there, but so I don't really have strong feelings about what should be banned and unbanned. I have pet decks like in Modern. I would love to see Splinter Twin unbanned because that was my deck. I used to play that all the time. Very happy with Splinter Twin as a deck. But I don't know, is that a healthy thing for the format? I'm not sure. For Legacy, I probably have a little more feelings about this. But I'm not sure I could formulate them right now. I really like Deathrite Shaman as a card, but it did warp the format, so I'm sad that it had to go, but I think it did have to go. What else would I like to see? I mean, I feel like Earthcraft doesn't need to be banned. I don't feel like that needs to be banned in Legacy. Like when they took off land tax off the ban list in Legacy, that was awesome, and it didn't break the format. So I think there's a lot of stuff they could take off the Legacy ban list. I'm not sure if there's anything in Legacy I would ban. Also in Modern, I think we could see some other stuff in Modern. Like some people say, hey, can't you make Commander products legal in Modern? I think some of that would be interesting, letting some of those cards that, are not necessarily standard cards, but other cards to be good, like Teferi's Protection or something like that. What would that do to Modern? That would be interesting, right? I don't know. I say this with a very light, I don't really care about Modern, so let it burn, I don't mean that for if you guys really care about it, of course, do what you do. They wouldn't bring it to paper unless people go bonkers for it like Pauper. Yeah, I agree. I feel like a lot of what's going on in Ultimate Masters is a response to the Pauper resurgence that happened, this last year. So, that's Wizards sometimes does a good job of replying to that kind of thing, and trying to do the right thing by the players, So as much flack as people give Wizards, and as much people like to say negative things, and I don't know, I feel like they do a pretty good job managing the game. I don't have a lot of negative things to say, so. Baleful Strixen Modern. Can we get the emoji? Can we get this emoji switch to Pikachu? That would be good, man. That's total meme action right there. Let's see. Even though the Pauper craze died after all the conventions, right? Yeah, I mean, I think there's just a lot of fatigue going on, The trouble is that Magic was super successful, and I think Hasbro wants to keep that pace of money making up. And part of the problem is when you don't have as many, so you have this increase in profits because of new players, a natural organic thing that happened. And then when you don't have that new players, you got to farm the existing players to get that profit to go back up. And so what I think we see is a lot more release of products. And what they're trying to do is hit different sectors of their market, right? So they have different sectors. They have the competitive players, they have the EDH players, they have the invisibles, they have all these different sectors, and they're trying to hit them with different products. The problem is there's a group of people who just want to consume all the Magic products. And what that's doing is creating this fatigue because they want to buy it all and they're like just getting hit and hit and hit. It's not really meant to do that. It's meant to hit the sectors to get, to extract the money from the different sectors and farm their user base. And so I, I don't know. I think that what's happening is like when you have something like Popper, like a natural like interest in a format, it gets kind of trampled by all the stuff that Wizards is trying to get people to look at. So you have like a natural interest in a Popper format, but then they're like, look at this set. Oh, look at this arena. Look at that. Look at this. And so your attention is being pulled from these natural things into this kind of like guided, like forced thing, and it creates problems, I think. But they're not problems that anyone really has solutions for. It's just like there's a lot of love for the game and there's a lot of excitement for it, and so it's hard to manage that. And then when you have the pressure to perform or to draw the money out, that creates these tensions, and I don't know where it ends. I don't know what does it look like long term. I don't know. I'm not sure. Do you think box toppers will hold their prices long term? Yes, definitely. So they're not going to hold their prices when they start getting opened, right? So when everyone starts opening their box toppers, prices are gonna plummet. They're gonna bottom out, and so this will happen at what they call peak supply. As after like most of the sealed product gets into the market and gets opened, that'll be peak supply. It usually happens like a month or two after the product release, depending on how fast, like if there's GPs and stuff like that going through the product. And so when that happens, that stuff is all going to drop because everyone's going to be undercutting everyone else to get to sell theirs so they can recoup some of the money. But what's going to happen after all the dust settles is that the product is not going to be opened anymore. And so people are going to start wanting these box toppers, and the demand for them is going to start to go up because people are going to start to trying to get them instead of trying to sell them. And then the prices will follow that trend. And so, yeah, they will over time. Well, right now, I wouldn't say they'll hold their prices because right now, whatever price they have is going to drop. Okay, it's going to go down. And then after they bottom out, they are going to raise. They are going to go up. And so you can imagine that will happen. So will they go up higher than they are now? It's hard to say because what you have right now is a fake demand curve, right? You have like a weird kind of situation where they've already released these into the market, so the demand is very high and the supply is very low, okay, because we only have as many as were sent out by Wizards. And so we have to get back to this level of supply for them to pass these prices, okay? And so we don't know, right? We don't know what the supply is, and so we don't know if we're ever going to get to that point where the market absorbs back to this level, because right now we only have what Wizards sent out. And so this is kind of like projecting what it will look like when the market absorbs these products. Okay, so will it absorb it to such a degree that it actually goes lower than the supply right now? If it does, then prices will go above where they are right now. If not, then the prices will stay lower. Now, I know that's kind of a cop-out, if it does, if it doesn't, but like I don't know what the supply is, so I can't tell you what the demand is, I can't tell you if the demand will eclipse it or not. But you can watch it. You can watch it happen. It's like an organism. It's living. It has different attributes and traits, and you can watch the pricing of that stuff and see, oh, look at, demand is outstretching the supply. There's more demand than there's supply, and supply start to get lower and lower. Then okay, we're gonna hit that point. And a good way to map that is look at what's on the market right now. How many are in stock right now? And then compare that to the future after peak supply. I mean, I'm not going to do that work. I'm just going to take more of like a holistic approach and just kind of watch the market. But if you really want to know, you can look at those numbers and start to figure out what is the supply on the market now and when will we get back to that point. You can look at the rate, right? The rate at which things are being removed from the market, and then you can project if you want. But I'm not going to do that because I don't care that much, Um, are you hyped for Detective Pikachu? No, I'm not. I'm not really hyped for that. I hate to let you guys down. I know you are my fellow kin in the geek world, but you know, I don't know, man. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it with my friends. We decided to go get some burgers at a gourmet burger place and then go watch the movie because we all play Pokemon the card game, and you know, we're adults, so that's what we're gonna do. But so I'm hyped for that outing. I'm not sure I have high expectations for the movie, but I don't really love the Pokemon franchise, so there's nothing at stake for me. You know, there's nothing at stake, so I think I'm going to enjoy it. Let's put it that way. I expect it to be a glorious flop. It's going to be great though. Who cares, right? We're going to watch it. That's what I told my friend. My friend's like, dude, do you think this movie's going to be good? I'm like, who cares, man? We're going to watch it, right? Who cares? So like the Expeditions. Well, I don't know if it'll be like the Expeditions. I think that the Expeditions, the thing is Expeditions have I think they have a lower, oh man, this is a hard question because my instinct says that the Expeditions have a lower supply. Even though the Expeditions, so here's what we have to figure out. So the Expeditions were in a bigger set, okay, that sold really well, right? So the Battle for Zendikar set sold really well. And so the supply of Battle for Zendikar is much more than the supply of Ultimate Masters. But the difference is that the Expeditions were only like 1 in every 3 boxes, I think it was. And so like 2 per case, where this is 1 in every box, okay? So that's the first thing. So basically, you know, Battle for Zendikar would have to have like a 4 times print run to even, for the Expeditions to even match how many box toppers there are. The second thing to remember is Wizards of the Coast sent a bunch of these out as an apology to like everyone who ordered a Mythic box and everyone who tried. So how many is that? You know, that's a lot probably, right? I expect a lot, you know? So I feel like these have there's more of these than Expeditions. And so even though it'll act like an expedition, you know, it'll act like it, it'll be like going down and then going up and then appreciate over time. I don't think it'll have the same price point as Expeditions because they're not as rare as Expeditions in my opinion. That would be my instinct, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong about that. Ultima Destructo, welcome, buddy. Just tuning in. How much lower do you think pre-order prices will go? A lot of pre-order prices seem quite ambitious. Do you expect to hold the EV over 300? Okay, so pre-order prices for singles, I presume you mean. What he's asking is, hey, there's a lot of people pre-selling singles. How much lower do you think it'll go? I think it'll go lower, and the reason why is because they are ambitious. The prices for these singles are ambitious, and what he's saying, just so you understand, is that somebody's asking $50 for a Noble Hierarch. Okay, that seems like a lot with how much supply is going to be entering the market. The thing that I guess the widget that controls this is the box EV. Okay, because when the EV is this good, people are just going to open those boxes and sell the singles. Okay, so everyone in the like, I'm talking to some of my store friends, and one of them was like, dude, should I just be buying Ultimate Master boxes? And I'm like, yeah, I think you should. You should be buying them, opening them, and selling the singles. And his thought is, well, the best time to do that is right now. What I need to do is I need to start selling singles right now. And I've thought about doing this as well, but I can't get the amount of boxes needed. I can't guarantee the amount of boxes needed for me to pre-sale. But if I had a store, I would definitely be just ordering our full allotment and then buying more and then pre-selling. So the idea is this. Here's how it works. You pre-sell a bunch of cards. There's a mathematic algorithm or an equation that will tell you if you open this many boxes, this is how you can get a this many of each mythic. Then you pre-sell each of those mythics at the prices that they're at now. So it's kind of like you're short selling the singles because you expect them to go down when the price comes out, right? So what you're doing right now is you're saying, hey, I'm going to sell Noble Hierarchs for $50, and with that $50, I'm going to go buy Ultimate Masters boxes. And so a lot of people are doing that, and I think that because the EV is so high, that it lets people say, well, I don't need to get 50 for a Noble Hierarch. I can ask 48. Or I can ask 47, and the next guy says, I can do better. I can do 46 because there's still room in the EV. So the natural conclusion is that people will race to the bottom in the pre-sales, and then until we match the EV. We have about $100 in flex room to do that. So how much lower will pre-sale prices go? I'm really not sure. It depends on demand. And because like if you're selling Noble Hierarchs out the door at $50 like all day long, you're not going to lower the price of that. But hey, back to basics, that can suffer. We can see $25 back to basics, because the EV can yield in those low demand areas. So things like back to basics, things like Through the Breach, Glorious Vengeance, those things can give some space, right? Some of the higher dollar, lower demand cards can give way, especially in the rare slot. Okay, so look for cards that are low demand, high dollar rares. Okay, those are the cards that can drop. Look at Rune Halo. Was a $40 card, now it's a $12 card. Okay, so that one has a low demand. It's a rare, and it was a high dollar rare, and it dropped like a rock. So that's the stuff you can expect to see. That's where the slush room or the flex room is going to happen on these things. I don't think cards like Demonic Tutor are going to see a lot of droppage. The most of the value will be preserved by cards like that, like Demonic Tutor. Look at Engineer's Explosives already taking a big tumble, but I don't see it taking more. I think they're going to take the space out of those other cards. I think Life from the Loam can go down a little bit. $20 is a lot for Life from the Loam. I look at cards like Back to Basics, Phyrexian Tower, Caracas, Temporal Manipulation as taking a 25% more hit. This really hurts the EV. Same with pretty much all the uncommons. Yeah, the uncommons definitely take a hit, but a lot of them have already taken a hit. So I don't know how much further you can go. How much cheaper can a Kitchen Finks be? It's $4 right now. Yeah, I could see it going down to $3, So sure, the EV is going to go down. That's a fact. Okay, because it has to, because people are going to open these boxes for singles and sell them. So I think you're right to assume that on those cards. All of those cards could definitely take a 25% hit, but I don't know. I don't know in the end, where does it stop? It stops when, you can buy a box for $250 and the EV's $250. That's when it stops, or close to that, right? Because there's a level of like variance. So, the EV doesn't have to be dead on 250 to 250. Probably when the EV starts getting close to 290, 275, 300, when the EV starts dropping to 300, then we start wondering about when these singles prices are going to stop dropping. And so when will that happen? Will it happen before the single prices start to rebound? I don't know. That's all depending on the market. It's all decided by the market, whether you buy it or not. You buy the singles or not. I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for the questions, by the way, guys. This really helps to keep the cast going. Let's take a look at... I'm just checking out my Twitter feed to see if there's any other questions before we wrap this up. I think I do want to wrap it up at some point. How long have we been going? Let's check it out. Let's do an uptime command. Oh, we've been going for an hour? That's not a bad show, right? An hour Ultimate Masters show, Ask Me Anything for 1 hour. That seems pretty good. Do you guys have any blah, 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 blah. That's got to be in the outtakes. Do you guys have any other questions? What else do you have questions of? And if there's no other questions, by the way, guys, make sure that you hit me with the follow. You know, I want to do a little bit of promotion here of myself and this stream, right? The way that I work is I can find time to do things that I enjoy. I enjoy streaming, but there's things that I need to do this stream better. And basically, if I feel the support for that, I will continue to do the streams. If I don't feel support for that, I just won't do it. And I'm not trying to say like, hey man, if you guys don't pay me, I'm not doing this. But I'm just saying like, I'm the kind of guy who like goes where the energy is, right? If the energy is in doing the stream and you guys are supportive and you guys are, you know, all about this, by the way, showing up and lurking is support. Don't get me wrong. It's not only like hit that donation stuff, but I'm saying like if you're following, if you're supporting, if you're sharing this stuff on social media, that's the kind of thing that I need to know whether I want to keep doing this or not. If there's no support, I just move on to the next thing, you know, continue to write articles, continue to Twitter, you know, the things that I'm doing. And there's no bad feelings about that. There's no emotional thing about that or moral thing about it. It's just, if this is the content you want to see, if you enjoyed this, hey, let me know, man, by subscribing, by, you know, sharing, by continuing to be here on the next one, that kind of thing. Let's take a look at what else we have going on here. I have 4 Caracas to move, but didn't get hit by reprints besides that. Yeah, that's pretty good to dodge that. You know, 4 Caracas is not bad. It's still a good card in Death and Taxes. Did you ever consider working in a church, being a priest, or another position? So some of you guys who don't know, I'm of the Christian faith, so I'm a Christian. I know a lot of baggage comes with that. I try to separate myself from the baggage. I'm not a hateful person, and I'm not an exclusionary person. Let's just put it that way. So, so let me just, you know, preface this question with that. Okay, so some people like Norbert know that, hey, I have this faith, and I'm passionate about certain things. As you can tell, I'm passionate about this stuff, and I'm also passionate about God and the Bible and those kind of things. So he asked, you know, have you ever considered working at a church or a priest or anything like that? I don't really think that, I have considered it. I've considered it because, you know, that's a natural thing when you have faith and church is a big part of your life, and you think about it like, hey, would I fit in this position, or would I want to do this? Especially when one of the things that I like to do is communicate, okay? I like communicating with you guys. I like communicating with other people in lots of different ways, right? Through streaming, through Twitter, through Facebook, through one of my favorite ways to communicate is one-on-one. So like, I love to get lunch with my friends, sit down and just one-on-one talk about life and enjoy each other. I like that. That's like my style. So I ask myself, you know, would this be useful in like a church setting? You know, would this be useful in some kind of sharing my belief system and sharing, you know, the way that God has impacted my life? Would that be useful there? And I'm not sure that I don't know if I'm cut for that cloth. Let me just put it that way. I think hanging out with you guys is part of my, it's part of my place. It's part of where I belong. To be here talking about Magic Finance with you guys, talking about a game that we all enjoy, and to also be a Christian at the same time, I feel is an important thing. I think it gives people a place to go if they want to talk about those kind of things, a place that's not intimidating, right? If you want to talk about that, you could just hit me up. You don't have to go to a church. You don't have to do this kind of stuff. So I think that more so, I really want to be an impact to my friends. And when I say an impact, I mean like a force for good, or like a positive force. The other day, my friend Taylor, and I really appreciate what he said, man, every time I run into you, I feel like my life has gotten better. And my wish is that many people will feel that way. And my hope is that in the end, when you look at my life or you look at the way that I live my life, that somehow will point to the goodness of God and how God is a good God and not a bad God, and not someone who's trying to get people or somebody who's responsible for evil or all of the bad like baggage that is surrounding God that his people, I feel like, have kind of put on him because of their bad behavior and all of their brokenness and their sickness. I feel like I don't want to be a contributor to that. I want people to be happy about God because of who I am, because of what I've done or how I've lived my life. So I hope that answers the question. I don't want to turn this into a sermon podcast. I'll just leave it at that, even though I could go on for hours and hours about how I think we should live and how we should love each other well and this kind of stuff. I think that we should love each other well in the end. And I do that because I feel like I've been given grace by God. So I'll leave it at that. Let's go on to the next question. It's so hard to pull me away from that topic, though. How much of a market impact do you think 3-packs at the big box retailers? So one thing that we got to realize is that for Ultimate Masters, they are selling packs of it at Walmart and the big box retailers, right? So there has to be quite a bit of supply for them to be able to sell this stuff in Walmart during Christmas time, right? There has to be quite a bit of supply. So I think the big impact comes from that fact. The impact comes from the fact of that they have so much supply that they can sell them in Target and Walmart at Christmas time. So what we can expect to see is a lot of those things open up, and again, singles entering the market. And so the only source of these is not only booster boxes, also these blister packs. So how much of an impact? I think, oh man, that's really hard, because the question becomes, do we sell more Ultimate Masters product through Walmart than we do through boxes in the local game store? I don't know, man. Think about all the boxes that Sports and More sells, over 4,000 boxes I read. This was weeks ago before spoilers. So Sports and More on eBay sold 4,000 boxes, weeks ago before spoilers. So is 4,000, and that's just them. All the stores across the United States, what you have to figure out is, what is the relative sales of Target and Walmart blister packs to versus the stores, right? Who owns the market share there? Is it the stores, or is it the Walmart and Kmart stuff? And I don't know. I really don't know what percent of the market that impacts, But that's a really good question. What do you think? What do you think, Ultima Destructo? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, because, I'm not sure. I mean, it does impact the market, right? Because it's the two things that are interesting about that is, number one, the packs are kind of less than if you open them in booster packs, because you're not getting the box topper. So you can buy the packs kind of cheaper than buying a booster pack, than buying a booster box at Walmart and Target. Some people might just not be interested in the box topper and buy more there because they feel like it's cheaper. Also, you have a lot of the Christmas shopping going on where the moms are like, oh, Magic, my son plays that, let me buy that. Or my daughter plays that, I'm going to buy those packs. And so you might see a lot more of that situation happening there. And so we see a lot of those singles entering the market. The question is, though, the people who buy that stuff at Walmart and Target are probably more of the people who kind of don't make it into the local game store, which we can probably presume that they probably don't put those singles into the market as well. I think the conversion rate of singles from people who buy from Walmart into the marketplace, like TCG Player, eBay, local game stores, GPs, I don't know if those singles have a really good conversion rate to make it into those places, right? A lot of times you'll see those collections go up on Craigslist, I guess, and then the Magic Finance people will take it and then bring it into the market. But it seems like there's a lot more steps for it to get into the market, because the question would be why would anybody who goes to like a local game store or, you know, buys things on the internet or that kind of stuff, why would those people, people who participate in the market, why would they buy from Walmart or Target? It seems like the people who don't participate in the market are the ones buying there. So the conversion rate is probably pretty low, I would say, for that stuff. So the selling of that stuff probably has less of an impact on the singles market, if that makes sense. That would be my guess. But that's a lot of reaching. I don't know. That's a good question, though. It seems like they add 3 packs in IMA and through. So IMA is Iconic Masters and Masters 25, A25. And the Battle Bond singles bottom faster. Okay, so what he's saying is it feels like the Battle Bond, IMA, and Masters 25 all bottom faster. So this is what I'm talking about by watching the market and understanding the rate of the market, right? He's saying, man, when I was watching the market with those singles, they went faster, and he attributes that to the selling of that stuff at, you know, Target and Walmart. Now the question, there's a lot of factors for the bottoming faster effect. It doesn't only mean that, hey, you know, what is it? Correlation doesn't equal causation, right? You can't, just because it's correlated doesn't mean, just because these two facts exist in the same space doesn't mean that fact A caused fact B, right? You know, it could be the makeup of those sets. So when you have the makeup, like where does the value lie in those sets? And some of that value could be crushing those other singles faster. And so you'd have to look at the makeup of those sets. Battle Bond was a pretty thick set for value. So Battle Bond is closer to this set than those other two, I think. That's what my instincts say. But I don't know. Battle Bond was not a limited release either. Battle Bond was like print to demand. So there's a lot of factors there. I'm not really sure. I don't want to start just talking nonsense. I just want to give you guys the tools. Hey, these are some of the tools and the questions you should ask to understand where this stuff is going. This is kind of the tools you can use. I'm not going to give you a definitive answer because, you know, you might have a better insight than me, or you might have a better history than me. So I just know these are tools that you can use. And so hopefully those tools are helpful to you. You would be great at sermons. I tried to do that one time. I tried to preach. It went terribly because there's a lot of pressure on me. And like, I try to make sure that I had the like wireless mic, and I gave this message that like I had written up and stuff. And it didn't go well. It didn't go well. I do so much better. Like if we're sitting in my living room and we're talking about the scripture, or we're talking about God, that's so much more comfortable for me. If we're sitting in my office and we're talking about Eternal Masters or Iconic Masters or Ultimate Masters, it's so much more comfortable for me to do that. So I don't know if I could get up in front of a bunch of people and talk about anything, you know, and be successful at it. Who knows? I don't know. It doesn't help that the rares in those sucked. Yeah. Okay. That's the point I'm trying to make. See, Zuko has correctly identified what I was talking about. The makeup of the value, right? If your rare slot is weak, then stuff is going to bottom out faster. You know, it's just the way it is. Less pressure when you can't see eyes looking back at you. Like I said, in a living room, hey, if there's eyes looking at me and there's like 10 people, that's fine, man. We did this Bible study one time at my house, and it was with guys from the magic shop, right? So it was like all these magic guys, and not all of them were like faith people. You know, some of them were just like, let's go check out what Medina's talking about the Bible. Let's go check it out. And that was awesome, man. We used to get together. There was different faiths in there or different branches of faith, different kinds of people. And we talked about the word, and it was just like a discussion about, this is what the Bible says. Let's engage it, you know? And that was a lot of fun. And I didn't mind that people were looking. It's just like, I don't know, the official capacity of it. I don't know, maybe creates pressure or something. I have no idea. Yeah, maybe it is less pressure. So that is that. Wow. We went over a lot of topics today. We did a lot. The scale of it. Yeah, maybe it's the scale. Maybe it's like more people, the more people, the worse. also, it could also be just like, I said this on another stream, but like the handling of information. So if I tell you Ultimate Masters is a buy, do it, and then you guys go buy it, and then it wasn't a buy, I feel like it's not that big a deal. And I'm sorry, guys. Like, if I give you bad information, you take the advice, and then you get like blown out value-wise. I am sorry for that, but I will say that like I don't feel like that's the end of the world. So I'm handling this information. Now, I have a lot of respect for the topic, and I have a lot of experience in the topic. So I wouldn't try to just smash you guys, obviously. But like, I feel like I could be wrong about this, and it's okay. Now, when you start talking about matters of faith and matters of beliefs and things that people stake their lives on, like, I'm real careful about how you handle that stuff. And I want to be super careful how you handle that kind of topic. And so like, I think that the handling of that information is so much more precious to me, and it's so much more like, oh no, like, you don't want to like hurt somebody here. You don't want people thinking something wrong about God here, or you don't want people to like have their life affected in a negative way. And so like, the worst thing that can happen right now when we talk about magic cards is like, maybe you buy something you shouldn't have bought, or like maybe you get blown out when opening a booster box, and that's not as bad as, life situations, I think. So maybe it's that handling of information. What else you guys got? Anything else for me? What's your favorite card in Ultimate Masters? I'm trying to look over the set, man. It looks great. It looks super great. I'm looking forward to getting some of the foils for my battle box. Some of these box toppers will be really great in the battle box. Maybe we're going to do a stream when I get the product. So I ordered a bunch of this Ultimate Masters product. We're going to open it on stream. So I hope you guys are ready for that. I think now is a good time to close. Working on a big one for you might be better as a discussion topic for a different stream. Okay. I like the idea of doing a bigger one, a bigger question for me, Zuko. And we can tackle it. We'll do it on another stream, because I think we're going to wrap this one up. I'm going to get some food. I think all you guys are sick of listening to me talk. I mean, this is a long time to listen to me talk. So, and Brutal says, religion can shape a personality. As to at the end of the day, Magic is just a game. That's right. Magic is a game. There's a lot of power in the game, of course. I don't want to discount that, but there's so much bigger things at play when you talk about religion or beliefs. And there's so much baggage, like I said, things that I try to walk this line very carefully, because I do have a respect for people who have issues with Christianity and the Bible, and have issues with God and stuff like that. I really have a respect for that, because I understand that, there's real things in life that there's real atrocities and real things that have hurt people. And I don't want to discount that in any way and say that their hurt or their opinion or their thoughts or their experience is any less than less real, because it conflicts with my own beliefs. So I try to walk the line super fine, because I don't want to, I don't want people to feel unloved. And one of my primary goals in life is to love people. That's one of the primary things that we're called to do as Christians, is to love people and to love God. So that's what I try to do. Similar to when you walked Clarity through getting into the game. Yeah, okay, super cool. So I don't know if you guys have watched this stream before, but I walked somebody through getting into buying and selling Magic cards. I was really happy to do that, and so Zuko has maybe some questions or some similar things for us to tackle. Hit me up for sure. I'm down for that. Anyways, guys, it's been a great stream. I really appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate you hanging out for all the different range of topics. And I really enjoy that you guys can be here and let me be myself, and that you get some support with your presence. So I hope that this has been super helpful and informative. And you guys have a great day. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye. I had to find the stop button.